Panel, stay with us. And first, President Obama, if you're watching, this might be the time to grab the remote and mute the sound for this next news, because for the first time, a majority of Americans think President Obama is not respected by other world leaders. According to a new Gallup poll, 53% of Americans say world leaders do not respect President Obama, while just 41% say they do respect him. Former UN Ambassador John Bolton joins us. Good evening, sir. And those are lousy numbers, although they are not the worst numbers. President Bush apparently had a worse number at one time.
Well, I think this is a very accurate perception of international leaders' view of Barack Obama. We've had an embarrassing, a humiliating performance by the president in dealing with the Assad regime in Syria and its chemical weapons. We've seen the president agree to a deal with Iran on its nuclear weapons program, which will have the effect of legitimizing Iran's nuclear weapons program and allowing them to come closer to that objective. We've got a doomed to failure negotiation going on between Israel and the Palestinians, and that's just the Middle East. It goes on from there.
I also think that the reason a lot of the world might be unimpressed with the president, I mean, even things like, when the president of Brazil turned down the invitation for a state dinner. I don't know if that's probably has happened in history, but that's pretty embarrassing. When you had President Putin writing an op-ed in the New York Times to sort of bloody the president's nose over Syria, I mean, that was him going around. Then you had President Obama making a crack and getting caught on a hot mic making a crack about Netanyahu to former President Sarkozy. That made the president look petty. I mean, it's not like, there's just so many of these things, they're finally catching up.
Well, I think they're catching up, but I think it's also a reflection that they've watched the president in action for 5 years, and they see what the American people see. This is a weak man, an indecisive man, a man who is not attentive to American national security. And after a while, the perception builds up. They see our adversaries taking advantage of them, and they don't believe that the United States is going to do what it needs to do. This budget today is only going to make it worse.
What's the best thing the president has done in foreign policy that should send a message out to the world that the president is a strong leader and the United States is strong?
That he got out of the way of our effort over a 10-year period by the military and the intelligence community to kill Osama bin Laden. That is the single best thing that has happened during this administration.
In looking at it, I think the NSA crisis has really hurt the United States and hurt him. Even Angela Merkel sort of calling him out on that. Even that, although that's probably been going on for a long time.
Honestly, I don't think so, and I don't think the American people care about spying on foreign leaders. I think if you ask them,
I'm saying how Americans. I'm saying Americans are ridiculed. I'm saying the president. If you look at the perception overseas of the United States.
And you know what Merkel's doing? She's playing to her domestic audience.
Oh, yes.
She knows she's being listened to, but she can't act as if it's business as usual. I really don't think. I think that's a mistake in the Gallup's analysis. I don't think that has anything to do with their declining perception of Obama. They see a person who's not fulfilling the role that the President of the United States needs to fulfill to protect international peace and security.